Hey guys, Leanne Drake, Usborne Books and More consultant and team leader. I hope you're enjoying checking out some of our Usborne books. I want to create this little video to show you some information about some of our storybooks. I'm a big fan of our storybooks and our picture books. I honestly think they go for many different ages. My little 2-year-old, we like to sit down and read a book every now and then, even if it's not a board book. And then also, I think, all the way up to middle school, kids like to be read to, and it is important that we continue reading to our children as part of their literacy. So let me show you some of my favorite board books that we have from Usborne. It's hard for me to narrow them down, so I'm going to go through them really quickly, some of my favorites. So first off, let's talk about Socks. This is a super fun book. It's got some great, really bright illustrations in it. This is a Kane Miller book, so it's an international book. It's got lots of great illustrations in here. And this is a story about a little girl, and she finds out all this information about these different socks and what different socks do, and talks about all the different possibilities that come with socks. And just a really cute little fun story of this little girl learning about her socks. You may have heard of Everyone Poops. It is a pretty popular potty training book. Same author here created this book called The Holes in Your Nose, which is another fun book for those little guys or little girls that are discovering the little holes that are in their nose. What I like best about this particular book is it shows lots of fun drawings and people, and talks about those little holes that exist in our noses and the different sizes and shapes that they come in. So it's a super fun learning book for your kids. This one, probably a little bit older kids here. This one's from Usborne Books and More. It's called The Railway Children. You can find it in its own individual storybook copy, or it's actually part of our Illustrated Classics for Children binding book. That's great. I love this story about these kids back in the 1800s, and their family is a nice family. They have a great house. They have a mom. They have a dad. And then one day somebody comes to the door and takes their dad away, and he doesn't pack any bags, but mom tells them that dad's away on business. And so they end up selling all of their items and dismiss their servants, and they move to this country town where there's a train, and they go out to the train tracks and they say, that train is headed towards London, so we're going to send our wishes to Daddy, our love to Daddy through this train. And every day they go out there, and one day they discover that the train tracks are covered by a bunch of branches. So they get to make a decision on what they're going to do with the train that is now stranded. So this is a great story. Again, you can buy it individually in its own storybook. You can also get it in our Illustrated Classics for Children. Here's a fun one. No, That's Wrong. This is a really brightly illustrated book. My little guy's favorite word right now is no, and it talks about these little pair of underwear that comes off the laundry line and blows away, and this little rabbit finds it and thinks it's a hat. And so he goes through and with all his friends in the forest, they try to figure out, is that a hat? And they think, no, maybe that's not a hat. Then they figure out what it is, and they go from there. So it's super fun. Dan the Taxi Man. No home library is complete without this book. This book has a sing-songy feel to it, so that's what I love best about it. Eric Ode is the author of this book, and he's got some great ways that he rhymes. And so this is about a taxi man that goes around and he's collecting all these musicians, and the lyrics that go along with the book, I'm calling them lyrics because they sound very much like a song, are super fun. Let me read you a section here. Here comes Ace with his upright bass. Boom ba boom ba boom ba boom. Here's Claire with her rattly snare. Rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. So it's a really fun book to read. Blue Whale Blues. This is one of my favorite. If you have a child that's working on learning about their emotions and learning about what does all this emotions mean, this little whale is a sad little whale, and he goes through life kind of sad, and all his friends do super fun things to cheer him up and get him out of those blues. And again, it's got a super fun story that goes with it too, about his friends cheering him up and trying to get him out of the blue whale blues. Bears Don't Read. This is one of my first Usborne books that I got, and I was super excited about it. It's about a bear who decides that he wants to learn how to read. And he goes into the forest, and his bear friends tell him, no, 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 you don't want to learn how to read. Bears don't read. But then he goes out in a journey into the village where he's at, and this little girl helps him learn how to read. And it's just a really sweet story, especially if you have a little one that's learning how to read. And it's a great story about the bear's journey on actually being able to read and saving the day. Paul Needs Specs. Love this one. The illustrations in this one are gorgeous. They're just very bright and colorful. Look at all those colors. This is a great little book about a boy who needs to get glasses and how his view of the world changes once he gets glasses. And I think there's a good moral to the story as well. Check that one out, Paul Needs Specs. Cuddle Bear is one of my favorites. It's about this cute little bear who likes to give hugs to his friends. It's got some really bright, great illustrations in it. I encourage you to get this book. This particular book's, the proceeds from it, a portion of the proceeds go to help with pediatric cancer. So that's a good one. And my last one is One Night at the Zoo. I have to talk about this one. It's super fun. It goes through a great story about what happens at the zoo at night and all the different adventures the animals take at the zoo at night. And then it goes through and says, but no one knew because it was nighttime. And then on the very last page, it's like, wait a minute, you knew because you just read the story about this. So that's just a few of our great storybooks. We have many, many more to choose from. If you need any recommendations, let me know and I will hook you up with a great storybook.